we have a question that remained from last Quran circle. The question was from Wa'il, more particular. It's a very important question, really, and I think it relates to all of us. We hear people today. We talk a lot about passion. What is my passion? And this concern with passion has become particularly important in today's age. I want to know what my passion is. There's a lot of confusion about it. I want to know, what I should be doing for the rest of my life, about my future, blah, blah, blah. And what is interesting here is this question was never as pressing as it is today, as in pre-modern societies. People were a lot more clearer about their passions. In today's age, no, it's become so clouded. A significant part of it is that a significant reason behind this is the fact that education, which in the past pre-modern societies was primarily about trying to get you to understand what your passion is, and then you stick to it. Education was literally an end in and of itself. Education today is taken as a means to another end, as a means to a good career, as a means to, so it's being commercialized, as simple as that. Parents would send their kids to the best schools in medicine and engineering, thinking that this will give a good profession, you could have a good earning, a good income, blah blah blah. So education, which was in and of itself an end because it's to do with the passion. It will educate yourself to reach your passion. Education now has become a means to something else, that is having a good job that brings you money. So this paradigm has been inverted, if you wish. Education in the past is taken as its primary function is to get you to know what your passion is. Now it's become a means to another end, that is, I really want to get a good job. And that led people to have so many misconceptions about passion. We now think of passion as something that I can think of it as a hobby or something that I would do in my free time or something. But passion is something to be respected because Allah has created us with it. As in Allah designed, we are different, right? What you enjoy is different from what I enjoy. What you are good at is different from what I'm good at. That's how Allah designed us. Allah says in the Quran, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. We've designed you into nations and tribes and individuals, and you are different, so that you may come to know and use each other and learn from each other. If we all had the same skills, the same capacities, wouldn't have there would have been no point of this whole thing. Because of this confusion, people are doing good jobs, yes, but how many people in your life have you come across that will be doing a specific job, but they're not really happy with it? They're just doing it because it's a source of income, and in their free time they do something else that really satisfies what they call a passion. A lot. I've seen this a lot in my life, and that takes us to a number of misconceptions that we have about passion. The first one I could say is we often think of passions. What is my passion? I haven't discovered my passion yet. Don't we say that? And the thing is, these passions are not really something that we discover. Passions are primarily stuff that we develop. So we don't really discover them as such. Like overnight, I wake up this morning with a clarity as to what my passion is. It doesn't work this way. It's something that we really develop. How do I develop it? How do I know? And that leads me to another misconception that we have about this about passions is people think, I'm not clear about my passion. I'm not going to choose anything. I'm not going to do anything until I become clear about my passion. The problem is clarity follows action. It doesn't come before it. As in, I need to start doing something so that it becomes clear to me what I am passionate about. Does this make sense? We often think it's actually the opposite. When I am clear, we start doing something. It doesn't work this way. So I often say, when you are, an early career or just graduate, or even before you graduate, you want to know what is my passion. You need some action for you to discover yourself, basically. But you could say, how do I? When I come to take some action, we could make a mistake, and the mistake is I could be taking a long-term thing. I could take a long-term job, a long-term position, but I will to discover only after years and years that this was not really my passion. But you could do this actually with what can be called low risk experiments. By low risk experiments, you could think of volunteer for a project, if you wish. Do some charitable work that will get you to discover what you're passionate about, if you like. Shadow someone at his job to learn something. Take a short course, if you like, about something. And when you learn something, like maybe a two months course or something, as in the point is, don't commit to a major thing. Commit to a low risk investment, a low risk experiment that will get you to really discover. If not to discover your passion, at least you would know what you don't want. Right? Another misconception to do with this is that we often really confuse passion with identity. When it comes to passion, people often ask the wrong questions. An example of this, people would say, in my mind, like in your mind, you would think, what sounds impressive? When you are thinking about the passion, I want to do something that impresses others. You might not, it's not always obvious in our minds in this way, but it is one of the key elements that we think of when it comes to passion, right? You might be thinking, what fits my self-image? I want to be seen in this way. I want to be seen in that way. You might be thinking of
pleasing your parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Could be, what do I enjoy as well? Enjoyment is different from passion, by the way. That's a huge misconception. Another huge misconception, we often confuse passion with enjoyment. Something that I enjoy. Yes, you will enjoy, but it's not the primary thing. So we often confuse enjoyment with passion. But the key question to passion is, what I would still do? What still I would do when no one knows I'm doing it? What I would still be doing, even if no one, knows I'm doing this job or doing that job. What would I still do this job if no one knew I was doing it? That will take away any external pressure. The pressure of impression. I want to impress people. Right? Maybe someone is really good at cleaning and he very innovative when it comes to how to clean things. Right? But because the society has a specific impression of this job, I'm going to drop it because it's not impressive enough. So the idea of impression is very solid here as well. It often confuses us when it comes to passion. It could be your passion. Allah designed you with this potentiality. Invest in it. You will do something new about it. It could be your best investment, because your mind confused the passion with this interest, with this impression thing. You lost it. You have not used the potentiality that Allah has put in you. Mainly because you went with the impression thing. It could be your own self-image as well. Like I said, what fits my self-image? I want to be seen in a specific way. Another misconception, enjoyment. It's not about enjoyment. Outside pressure, absolutely. Family, I want to please my family. That's another disaster. But the key question is, again, would I still do this if I knew no one is watching it? That will put your fingers on it. Another thing that helps really is toleration, as in, what challenges am I willing to endure? What sort of frustrations I'm willing to endure? What sort of problems or issues I don't mind wrestling with? We often, sometimes I ask, you comment on someone saying, how could you endure this? I don't mind it. That tells us that we are different. Sometimes I can't tolerate something, but someone else can. What does that say about them? Say, this is a passion, but it's not my passion. So the toleration thing is a very important one. What can I tolerate? If you can tolerate a specific thing that no one else can tolerate, it means this is your passion. Allah has given you some talents, has given you some skills with which you can really tolerate these. And that says something about the nature of passions themselves. We often think of passions as very static things, very fixed things. They don't change. That's not true. That's not true. Passions are quite dynamic. They evolve. Really, they evolve with us. So you want to make sure how then the question becomes, what do I do in this case? If my passion evolves and develops, the question becomes, what am I really curious about now? And I want to improve in it. I want to improve it. Not that I wait until it becomes so clear to me. In my life, I've seen a lot of people would say, I really wait, and it's not clear to me until I become more passionate about something. It's not very clear to me. Sometimes I'm interested in this, sometimes I'm interested in that. It does fluctuate. But the passion thing is really tricky because of that as well. It's not. It does take time, and it does evolve with our surroundings as well. The reason I mentioned this because it goes in line with Jonah's story, in the sense that the prophet career is a really challenging one, and it takes specific capacities. Not everyone can be a prophet. Allah knows. Allah designs specific people for that. What they can tolerate, what they can't tolerate. At some point, Jonah thought, I'm fed up with this. This is too much. I don't have much trust in these people, blah, blah, blah. Allah is reminding Jonah here, this is your vocation. I've designed you for this. This is how it works. Just need to be more patient about it. It's not like any other job. This prophetic job has a specific design to it, if you like, and much to do with toleration. And you need to keep this in mind. Prophet Jonah is a good example of this. Allah said, saying to him, what? You can do it. Just to stay in track. Don't hasten. And he got the point, definitely. So I hope this, gives us some clue as to these key questions. Passions are not things that we really discover at specific, like as an event or something. It's actually a work in progress. It does take time, but you can't really take an armchair approach to it. You need to do something, as in start doing some action, because only with action, you'll get to discover. The Quran says, "Famshu fi manakibiha wa kulu min rizqih." You need to really do some action, some activity, so that I get to really know what I'm really happy to do. What gets me energetic as well. Don't confuse your interests, or you don't confuse your passion with your identity. The identity questions are stuff like the ones that I mentioned. What sounds more impressive in the eyes of people? What fits my self-image of myself? What fits my parents' expectations? What fits the society's expectation? What do I enjoy? All these questions are not to do with passion, they have to do with interests, if you wish. To do with identity. I want to be seen in this way. But the passion question is primarily to do with you intrinsically. Would I still do this?
It's inside you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Would I still do this if no one knew I was doing it? That will get you to really put your fingers on it. Helpful ways of really getting you to discover these, like I said, the low risk experiments. Short courses. Don't commit to major things before you develop your own passion, before you know what it is. But they can really do things that can help me discover, that can help me develop this. Short courses, volunteering is a significant one, and that teaches us something about again, to do with a Quranic principle. I take very seriously. It was a message that was given to Prophet Musa alayhi salam. فَخُذْ مَا آتَيْتُكَ. Take what I give you. As simple as that. Allah is telling Musa alayhi salam, take what I give you. If Allah sends you a specific message, a specific opportunity, don't say this is too little for me, this is not for me, I am far above, far better than this, or far lower than this, or whatever. If an opportunity comes your door, take it up. It will. Allah does not work randomly. He does things for purposes. So that nothing happens in coincidence. Really, we use this word coincidence in a very ironic way, but there is no such a thing as a coincidence. I believe. Absolutely. I hope this sheds some light on. Yes, Yawar.
It might not be a question for today, but how does passion link to purpose?
Can you elaborate a little?
I could be wrong, but I'd say one would feel most fulfilled when they are sort of carrying out their purpose, or what they were put on this earth for. So does passion link to that? If
okay.
So, how does it link to that?
Okay. A major thing in Islam is the question of intention. I haven't come across any religion that emphasizes intention as much as the Quran does. Intention transforms anything that you do, any passion that you have, into a purposeful thing. Any career that you do into a major thing, mainly because of the intention. The first hadith from Bukhari says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are nothing but intentions. At essence, the hadith is telling us, and the Quran across the board tells us, it's the intention that really matters. Of course, you need to do the action, but the intention transforms the purpose of it, if you like. The hadith in Bukhari says, it has a context to it. It says, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are nothing but intentions. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. And everyone gets rewarded or the consequences of his actions according to the intentions. Then the hadith says, فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى دُنْيَا يُصِيبُهَا أَوْ امْرَأَةٍ يَنْكِحُهَا فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى مَا هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. The hadith is addressing a specific point in the Prophet's time. When the Prophet had seen two different people, they both did the very same action. They both migrated from Mecca to Medina with the Prophet ﷺ, catching the Prophet's company in Medina, right? Yet one of them migrated for the sake of Allah, and the other one migrated because there was a woman in Medina who made it a condition upon this man. As in, she's saying, I will only get married to you if you move from Mecca to Medina. So he moved from Mecca to Medina as a Muslim. But Islam was not his real intention. His intention was marriage. In Allah's eyes, these are not the same people, even though they did the same action. Purpose is to do with the intention. Passion is to do with the action, if you wish. I really want to do what I excel at. That's the whole point. Why do we need to discover the passion? That's another question. Why is it important for me to discover what my passion is? Is simply ihsan. Excellence. I want to excel. I'm not going to excel in something that I'm not really passionate about. Right? If I am a doctor who is not passionate about medicine, right? I can do the job. I would never be like an original doctor who can innovate in this field. Just because it's bringing me some good income. That's it. But Allah says, I want you to bring the best of you. I'm not making this up. The Quran literally says, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا لِنَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. So Allah says, all this that you have on earth is not to bring the good work that you do. It is to see who is going to do the best things. Not only that you do good, but actually do the best. Excellence. What the Prophet called ihsan. What the Quran says, al-muhsinin. So passion is deeply linked to ihsan. Is deeply linked to excellence. If I doing something that I'm not really passionate about, I would never excel. I would never be a practicer of ihsan, which is one of the highest aspiration of the Quran, is for us to become muhsins, for us to become excellent people, excel what we do. Right? So the purpose thing, we develop our purposes out of what we do. So these are two different things. The purpose is deeply linked to the intention. And if you reorient your intention, you're done with the purpose. But the passion is to do with ihsan. That's why passion is important. Passion is important literally because of ihsan. I can't excel when I don't believe in this, when I don't really take it seriously, when I don't think it's mine, when I don't think it's what I'm good at. Does this answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
It reminds me as well of the thing you said about the khutbah the other day about having the vision as well. So when you have a passion about something, you have a vision.
Absolutely.
Which will allow you to go through more struggles. Whereas if you don't have vision and don't have passion, then even the first bit of struggle, you're like,
no toleration. Go back to the toleration test I was mentioning. Absolutely. You can only tolerate if you see the bigger vision. But if you can't see the vision, what's up? You would really get stuck in the first struggle because you can't see the point of it. Yeah.
How do you keep your intentions correct?
How you keep the intentions correct?
Yeah.
That's the thing about the intention. Thank you for this, Deepen. Intentions are very tricky. Very, very tricky. Al-Ghazali, Imam Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, who died in 1111, left us with a really good statement. Al-Ghazali is probably the most important scholar of the Islamic tradition as a whole. Literally. It's taken by many as such. His father was a really poor man, but he had a deep love for scholars and knowledge. Before he died, what he used to do, he used to what you call it, it was like a very minor trader, merchant, very small shop in today's Iran. But he had this deep love for scholars. He would do things for scholars, like to help them, do things for them, blah, blah, blah. He loved knowledge. Before he died, he had a friend. He said to his friend, I'm leaving these two kids of mine behind me. He had a son called Mohammed and a son called Ahmed. 2 sons. Right? So he left them when they were like 5 or 6. He says, I have this bit of money. I leave it to you. Look after them as much as you can. If you can, spend on them. But you know my dream, what my dream is. I love scholars. I love scholarship. I want these kids one day to be scholars. So his friend was committed to this dream. He said, I have this money. I will spend it on them. He did. But within a couple of months, he ran out of money. Right? That friend said to these 2 kids, these now 6 or 7 year kids, said to them, you know what? There is a school that was known like a state-funded school. So there was no money that can even feed them, let alone get them to study. So there is a school. If you join this school, it will guarantee you that you will have meals. I can't afford your own meals, but at least if you guys join this school provides meals. So Abu Hamid, this man Mohammed, who became the most important scholar of the Islamic tradition, and I mean it, later when he reflects on this, he says, we joined this school for the sake of meals. Not knowing that it will end up being this man, when he was 33 years of age, he became the head of the Nizamiya school. You know what the Nizamiya school is? It's literally the Harvard or the Oxford of the day. He became the head of that university. Look it up, Nizamiya school, right? At the age of 33. Tells us that when he was 33, people aging 50 and 60 would be sitting at his feet to seek his knowledge. When he was 33 years of age. And yet he said, طلبنا العلم لغير الله فأبى العلم أن يكون إلا لله. He says, when I was a kid, I pursued knowledge for the sake of meals. But knowledge denied me and said, you will only seek knowledge for the sake of Allah. What he means by this, because he had a spiritual crisis at this age. This spiritual crisis redefined his entire career. It's by the age of 35 he went through. Don't get me to talk about Al-Ghazali. I can talk about 4 years about him. 35, he had a spiritual crisis. He left everything. That's when he wrote his encyclopedic work Ihya Ulumuddin within a span of 10 years after that. But the point is, this spiritual crisis redefined, reshaped his intentions. What the point I'm trying to make here is intentions are very tricky. They do change, but something we all know from the Islamic tradition is called tajdeedun niyyah. Renew your intention. How do I renew my intention? Always ask the question of why before you do something. Just give a khutbah on that. Before you do something, always pose the question of why am I doing this? When struggles happen, when disagreements happen, when people disagree with each other, when you have fights, blah, 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 pause and ask, why am I doing this? If I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, I need to tolerate this. If I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, I need to tolerate that. So the question of why always is deeply linked to the intention thing. So always keep yourself busy with this question because it will clear up your mind. Yeah. Yes, Ben?
So if you is it just also like stay mindful of Allah as well?
Definitely.
So then you can, keep like renewing.
Definitely.
If you were more.
Taqwa is more of a result. A result of these, you will always become mindful of Allah. If I am asking this question, I would definitely keep it in mind. So it's more of a result, if you wish. Yeah. If no more questions, we shall bring this to a close, inshallah. And we meet up next week with the passage on Zakaria alayhi salam, another major story in Surah Al-Anbiya. But that's it for today. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. صلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد.